Why? Hello and welcome everybody. So good morning. Today I am here to introduce you guys to the new Righteous Fire Chieftain guide for 3.29 Curse of the All-Flame. So right now in the background, you've got some footage of my character from last league before we got super expensive and went lifestack, just to kind of show an example of how the Righteous Fire build will play in endgame. Basically, you pretty much set everything on fire. Your CotA explosions, which you'll see in the background, will kind of just do these gigantic explosions, which essentially elevate your clear, and you kind of just shield charge through everything. You can see the explodes there. This is not how the build is going to start right away. This is kind of what you're aiming to get to. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the actual guide. Now, if you've never used my content before, it's very important to check out my website. Now, the reason why I bring this up is we have the path of building right here. All you have to do is simply click it. And if you're on mobile or you don't have a PC, you can actually post this right here and you can start looking at it right now. It's not going to have the best information, but it's still got pretty much everything you need. From here, it's also important to note that I have a written guide on Mobilytics that is also ready to go, updated for 3.29 for players who want that. There's also going to be some updates going around, such as the Act 1 through 10 RF Chieftain walkthrough if you're new and need assistance. I made this video yesterday, so you have a full campaign run. Over here, we've got a built-in loot filter as well. This will take you right on over to here, and then you can see the campaign filter. For leveling, you also want to use the melee swap, and we'll get into that in a minute. We're almost done here. We'll be writing up some custom atlases you can find here. In the crafts tab, we've basically rehauled this, and my buddy Convey has helped me with the more endgame crafts. So when you get done with the beginner crafts, you've got the endgame section. And then, of course, the frequently asked questions. Always being updated. We're currently at about 160 questions. And if you're struggling at all, you can always type in your question, such as, I'm lacking dexterity. And you can actually go ahead and see, how do I get more dexterity? So this is where you want to come to when you are troubleshooting your Righteous Fire builds. So let's go ahead and get back to the beginning and click the RF Chieftain League start. Now, once we have this clicked, we're going to go ahead and open our path of building. And after we open it, we're just going to go ahead and hit new, import, and paste. Okay, now that we're here, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Righteous Fire with some pros and cons. First pro, it's got great clear speed as shown in the video. Having explosions and ignite proliferations linger really boosts your clear. On the downside, it doesn't have the best bossing damage, but with the new buffed Scorching Ray, more specifically Scorching Ray of Immolation, we may or may not be able to, we will, have much higher boss damage in the end game. I'm not going to include this right now. I'll have another path of building that'll be posted on the website, and I'll have a video explaining that later. It's low on the buttons, so you don't have to worry too much about slamming, constant keybinds. It's not a slam or a Warcry build. On the downside, you do have to level as a melee build just for the first 30 levels, but it is a breeze. It's not like it was before. There's no more muling. We're just going to be leveling with ground slam into Sunder, and it will be a nice clean transition. You can check out the YouTube guide that talks about the entire campaign run if you want more information. It doesn't have any resistance issues aside from chaos like every other build unless you're CI, because this node right here, Sallow Cleansing Water, makes it so we stack fire resistance and it covers our cold and lightning entirely. It's a very, very nice thing. On the downside, it's not the best build if you're trying to rush tier 17 maps or Ubers. It's just never really going to be that type of build. It can do okay in tier 17s if you gear it appropriately. It's never really going to be the best Uber build. That's kind of just how it is. All right, with that being said, let's talk more about the path of building. Now, in the path of building, there's going to be a lot of information here, and this is designed mainly for newer players, but experienced players can use it as well. If you take a look at the notes section, there's going to be a lot of information, but don't worry, it's organized in a way that's easy to navigate. For example, are you just starting out? Here is your melee leveling regex you're going to use. This is the loot filter we talked about. Here are some cheap starter uniques that you do not need at all, but for players who need additional help, this is where it is. So that means you're left with the level 1 to 30. The way this is set up is using the loadout feature in the top right. The loadout feature will navigate your tree, your skills, your items, and your configurator. You don't have to really pay too much attention to this, mainly the tree skills and items, and it's attached to the notes section. So for example, when you're in the level 1 to 30 and you're leveling as melee, this is all you need to read, is just here, if you need the additional help. When you're ready and you've moved past that, you can simply click the drop down to go 31 to 40. You'll notice here, the tree is going to switch and you have a Righteous Fire swap. From here, you can peek the skills, you can go ahead and look at your items, and you can go ahead and check the notes and scroll down to your next section. You really want to make sure you're reading these, especially if you're new, because Path of Exile is a very complex game and there's really no easy shortcut to it, right? This is essentially your shortcut to not screwing up. And this goes all the way through, mainly up until the higher gear sets. So you can just go ahead and take a look. As we get into the latest gear sets, like for example, these ones here, these are not going to have as much hand-holding because it's pretty far into the game. So I expect players to kind of look at the items and then use the website to kind of craft their gear. Now, with that being said, let me go ahead and jump in and show you guys some basic gameplay of low level and mid level. So, let's go right over here. Now here is a level 33 character. We have not ascended yet. We just got to Act 4 and we made our Righteous Fire swap. This character is running on complete trash. It has quite literally nothing, right? This character is able to sustain Righteous Fire no problem. Simply shield charge around, Frost Blink for extra movement. When you come across someone who's tanky, hit them with the flammability and then start casting your Armageddon brand. The damage will actually ramp as you get further in the campaign. This character is using a 2-link single target right now, and as you guys know, 2 links are not really that strong. This is mainly just the RF doing the heavy lifting here. I would say this damage would close to quadruple as you achieve level 40, and this is because you get Fire Trap, which is your designated single target online. This is basically going to be the weakest you are at this stage in progression. Now, going on over a little bit higher, this is going to be your character entering maps. This character just finished the campaign. This is actually the character from the campaign run if you watched it. This character has not even ascended to take their Merc Lab yet, and I'm going to show you that it functions just fine on simple 4 links. Let's go ahead and run a Scope Promenade.
It would be wrong to do that.
Oops, close out of that. Perfect. With the new gem changes, Righteous Fire gets even more AoE from this change, which is really, really nice. So the AoE you see here will actually be increased. Again, this character quite literally walked out of the campaign and is entering maps. So this is a similar experience to how you should feel in your first set of maps. I'll be quite honest with you, RF is not the tankiest build at this stage in the game. The tankiness comes from when you ascend and do your Uber Lab. That allows you to easily achieve 90% maximum all res by just gearing a little bit. I would say for most players, you really want to aim for the 90 going block base in the Path of Building, and we're going to go ahead and open that right after this showcase. Sometimes you get a Hinakura explosion on the boss fight, which does a ton of damage. Okay, let's go ahead and port back. Before I swap, I'll just go ahead and do a little showcase for you guys if you're curious at the different MTXs. I'm running Harbinger, it's my personal favorite. Here's Celestial if you want to die to on death effects, Divine Righteous Fire, Lightbringer, and then Transcendence. All right, from there, let's go ahead and jump right back in to our Path of Building. So, from here, I want to go ahead and kind of explain 2 things. Number 1, the 90 going block base loadout, the one I just talked about. The reason this loadout is very important are two big reasons. Number 1, This is using a modifier on a Shaper Shield known as Recover Life on Block. You want to pair that 5% life on block with your 75 block chance and your 75 spell block. This, combined with your defensive layers of physical damage taken as fire with Cloak of Flame, your 90 max res, and other factors such as endurance charges in Flesh and Stone, make your character very strong. Every time you block, you're going to heal yourself. And this is important because RF is constantly surrounded by monsters. The next thing is the helmet. It doesn't have to be a Royal Burgeonet, it can be any type of helmet, but the concentrated effect in burning for your fire trap itself is a very big damage boost. You're effectively taking a 4-link and turning it into a 6-link, which means you're getting 2 extra multipliers, and you can also get the +1 socketed area gems, which is very important as well. Some other notable things I want to talk about is why we're playing Chieftain. So, some key aspects as to why we play Chieftain over other ascendancies. Number 1, Hinekora. Righteous Fire does not do the most damage. In fact, it does very little damage compared to other builds. Hinekora Death's Fury allows us to take that little damage, do enough to kill monsters to trigger explodes to achieve our form of clear. This allows us to focus more on single target with our other skills so we can actually do some level of damage. This is irreplaceable and one of the core aspects of Chieftain. Ramako Sun's Light. At first, you'll notice by hovering over it, it says nearby monsters' fire resistance against damage over time is -20 while you're stationary. Stationary can even count for 0.1 of a second, basically a server tick. This means if your character gets stunned for even a fraction of a second, you're standing still, you instantly shred everyone's res to -20, you kill one monster, you trigger your Hinekora, the screen explodes. So TLDR, it's seamless while you're mapping, you don't even really notice it. It's a very good node. Not to mention it counters so many monster affixes, such as Fire and Ignite resistance, Elemental resistance, map modifiers with Elemental resistance, mobs that are possessed by ghosts. You ever fought a Soul Eater with 200 bonus res? We get to fight them with -20. It's fantastic. Moving on a little bit more, Sallow Cleansing Water. We talked about this node just to visually show you. If you look on the left here, if you look at my res, if I were to uncheck this, we go -55. That node caps you. Very, very good node. Then to bring it all together, we go Velako Storm Embrace, which effectively makes it so we can easily cap our cold and lightning res, so we're not squishy to those factors either. That pretty much concludes it. I hope to see you guys playing Righteous Fire in the patch. But before I go, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what to look for the new skill, Scorching Ray of Immolation Totems, also known as SRI Totems. I've been doing a lot of testing on stream, thanks to Jungron and Sek in my chat, who have been helping me set the character up, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a demonstration. This is more for the experienced players, as a lot of new players might not know what I'm about to show. We're going to go ahead and jump into a tier 17 nightmare map, and we're just going to go ahead and run toward the boss. Just close out of this. I'm not going to spend too much time showing the gear on this character. I will say it is relatively cheap compared to Fire Trap, but it does come with the issue of having to understand breakpoints and that you can brick your character if you don't really know what you're doing. What I mean by this is we're going to be spamming totems, and even though we're spamming totems, there is a chance that you have too much totem placement speed, leading to your totems expiring before they can actually cast their skills. Now, this character is not fully optimized. It was just used as a test, and I was very happy with the damage that it was actually applying. So I'm going to go ahead and just show an example here. Remember that Righteous Fire is a very tanky build, and this is part of the reason we want to build tanky, is so that we don't have to move when we're doing our boss encounters. The reasoning for this is this makes it so that we can take full effect of Ramako Sun's Light, and we do not have to worry about moving, because if we're moving, our damage massively falls down. So we want to make sure that we are not doing that. That's an example of a tier 17 boss, and whereas this may be slow for some builds, I don't disagree at all. This is very quick for budget, I'd say kind of budget Righteous Fire builds. So anyway, that's pretty much about it. That concludes the end of this. I'll be updating you guys more on the website and through video format with my findings of Scorching Ray of Immolation totems. But I'll catch you guys all later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow.